Hello everybody, welcome to my channel and welcome to my contribution to the Christmas Crafty Collab organised by Tracy at Mini Scenes GB. The playlist will be in my description box. Please check out all of the other videos. I'm sure there will be lots of wonderful creations in there. Freeze framing for a moment. Whilst I am mentioning other channels, it is Wendy at Toonpish Crafts who inspired me to attempt this project, although she obviously had more appropriate moulds and more skill than me. The skill being to make a snow globe, but not in a globe, a snow box. I will link her specific video that inspired me in case you also want to try it. Okay, before I tell you more about the overall project, as you can see here, I am starting to decorate a mould. This is a Santa and Mrs Claus kissing and holding hands. Now, whilst I let you watch me decorate this a little, let me explain a little bit more about the project. This started as a Santa and Mrs Claus in a snow globe idea, but it developed into something much bigger. I wanted to do a really nice scenery and I wanted to make this a really special project. It's my first Christmas as a YouTuber. It's my first real Christmas resining, to be honest. Last year I was only starting out. So I wanted to make something really special for it to be part of this collaboration. It has taken me over 5 weeks to make, almost 19 hours worth of footage split across 62 separate clips. It is now the 5th of December and I have had to take the day off work to finish it. I have poured my heart and soul, blood, sweat and tears into this. Literally tears, I'm not joking. The reason I'm telling you this is not for sympathy, it's for me to explain. If there is anything that does not end up in the finished product, I will cut that out. And you might think, well, that's common sense from a video editing point of view, isn't it? But I actually like to show my mistakes. I'm not what you would call new to resin, but I still consider my skills to be pretty novice level. So I like to show my mistakes for other people to learn from, and also for people to help me. I want to get better. I love this hobby and I want to improve. And the only way that people are going to know that I made a mistake and that I need help is for them to see me make the mistake. So I thought it would be fun to add blooper photos at the end of the video. So along with my glamour shots, I'll add photos of the parts that went wrong and that I cut out. Time to demold Santa and Mrs Claus. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, so here you can see that I have made a few items. I've made 4 houses with leftover resin from other projects. And I've made a couple of Christmas trees on the bottom right. And I've also got some bought trees on the left. And I've also made that chunky tree. None of these pieces make it into the final project except for Santa and Mrs Claus. I decide that I want to stencil a picture onto a square. Let's just call it a square for now. To make a box scenery. The problem is I want to do that whole stencil and, well, I don't have any suitable moulds full stop, never mind for the size of the stencil. So I end up trying to make my own box. So this is some more footage that's going to get deleted and added as a blooper picture at the end. But as you can see, just briefly to explain what I attempt to do, I have some acetate sheets. I attempt to make a box shape or a tray, let's call it a tray mould, out of acetate and hot glue and tape. So here I am just starting to measure how big I would need the box to be. And I'll just briefly show you me starting to write down some plans for how big I need the acetate to be, factoring in the size to fit the template and then extras at the sides to be able to be folded up to make a mould that I can pour resin into that will hold the resin. So I'm jumping in now just to show you that it got more complicated. I needed to make a frame so that my decorations could sit inside of a embedded section and a frame around the outside to put acetate across to make it into a snow globe or snow box. So the outer edge is the first box I made. I put a layer of resin on. Then I made a smaller box, which is where you see the yellow and green tape, and secured that in place and then filled up the edges with a bit more resin to make raised edges. I hope that makes sense. And that's all I'll show you on this section. I will save the demolded picture for the blooper pictures. After all those attempts to make something salvageable from those boxes, I ended up buying this mould. Can you guess? Did I check the measurements when I bought this online? Of course I didn't. But I thought I could make 6 of them. 6 without all of the sides. Because obviously if I make the sides, I'm going to have 6 squares rather than one large rectangle. So I wouldn't be able to put my stencil in. So I thought I was being clever when I had the idea to use UV resin to just pour a layer on the bottom of the box and do that 6 times. But it didn't work because when I cured it, it made the mould distort. It made the mould curve into the middle. It also pulled away from the edges and made bubbles at the edges. So I won't show you any more footage of that. I'll save that for the bloopers. And here's just a short clip of me making what would have been the sides to go with them squares. And now I've bought myself another mould, and this is actually a set of 3 moulds, and this is the biggest one of the set. And this is what I eventually use to finish the project with. Finally, I have found something, albeit not as big as I wanted. It is suitable and I can still make a decent project with it. And I have got myself a new mixer. This is actually a Christmas present and I have opened it early. But this is not a mixer review and it's not a how to mix video. You know, I was going to cut the mixing out, but it's been a pretty intense video with non-stop talking and no music yet. So let's just relax for a minute with some music.
A snow globe seen in resin's glow, Santa's cheeks a rosy show, Mrs Claus her hand in his, a Christmas tale sealed with a kiss. The light box hums a magic spell, tiny stars where love does dwell. Epoxy wonderland, hearts in the shine, a shaker of joy, a moment divine. Santa and his love, forever they stand, holding hands in this resin land. The UV rays made snowflakes gleam, a frosted world of
Right, okay, so I mixed that up for about 5 minutes at various steps and then moving the cup around as well. And then I've scraped the sides and I'm just going to split it across 3 cups plus this, to thin it out to reduce the risk of a flash cure whilst I allow it to debubble a little bit. Right, I've waited a couple of minutes and the bubbles aren't really rising, so I'm going to go ahead and pour and then it'll be thinner. And then hopefully I'll be able to debubble easier. Good squirt of alcohol. And I'm just gonna, it's just a plain pour is this one. I'll withhold the other 2 for a minute and debubble this. Bit of fire there because I've squirted alcohol too. Go around the edges and check for trapped bubbles. Pressing the point of the stick right into the corner so that I don't scratch the mould in an obvious place. I'm just going to use my torch on another phone so that I can see bubbles easier. I'm not going to actually turn the curing machine on because I want to give it more time to debubble, but it's a handy way of keeping dust and hairs off your project anyway. So if you're going to eventually turn the curing machine on, you may as well put it in there straight away, cleaning up the edges so that, well, I've got to put a bit more in yet, it's not full yet, but generally speaking, clean up your edges so that there'll be less trimming. Okay, I have demolded one of these already, and as you can see, I still managed to get a line of bubbles there, but the rest of it I'm really pleased with. There's no bubbles, well, there's a few little bubbles around the edges, but I don't think when you've got a scenery in there, you're not going to see them unless you're looking for them. And the same appears to have happened with my second one. I will spare you the sanding footage. This is another one for the blooper pile. I wasn't able to sand it to my satisfaction. It wasn't so much the sanding per se, but all the sanding dust in the holes. With the holes being so small, I could not get the dust out. I thought maybe if I continue, I would be able to join the bubbles up, make a big bubble, and then be able to get the dust out, but I decided it wasn't worth my time. Having said that, would it still have been disguised by the scenery? I don't know, and we'll never know. The decision I made at the time was they weren't good enough. So I'm starting again, and this time I'm putting some white pigment paste in. Pigment paste hides bubbles a treat, most of them anyway. And if you put some glitter in, or crushed crystal, etc., that hides them even better. So I also use some unicorn crushed crystal. I had thought about that when I first decided to do the white, but then I forgot. And I remembered again after I had split the white into multiple cups. So instead of putting the crushed crystal into this big jug, I had to put it into the separate cups, which means the ratio of crystal to paste will not have been the same, but it's all going to get mixed together anyway. So if one's overpopulated with crystal and another one is underpopulated, it'll all even itself out in the project anyway. You can see the bubbles still happened, but at least you won't be able to see them. So I've still got the issue of how I'm going to make a front, not have that bubble issue. So my theory is, and this is the only way that I'm going to try now, and if this fails, I give up. You won't ever see this video. But I'm going to cast again using only white, just for the edge. Right, so this one has got a white border, and it's now got a clear coat across the whole thing. Just a thin one, so that I could debubble it easily. Right, I'm probably going to use a mixture of products to decorate up my piece. I'm going to start with my coloured resins, coloured UV resins. This is the old formula. I believe they've improved the formula to make them more opaque. For example, this white, you can't see it, just pretty much looks clear. So I think they have improved it, but this is the old set, so it's what I have to live with. Unless I want to use clear UV and colour it myself, which I will probably do for some parts. But for now, especially where black's concerned, I'm going to use the pre-mixed one so that I can ensure it cures. So I've taped down a little bit as best I can. I'm going to start with this snowman. I'm not going to do all of this picture because it doesn't all fit on, so I'm just going to pick bits that I want to use and move the stencil around accordingly. So I've stuck it down as best as I can to make sure that there'll be no leakage underneath the stencil, and obviously I will have my pen light at the ready to cure up straight away. And then once I've got a fair segment done, I'll stick it into the dual lamp or the G3.
Sherry heart with her crafty flair poured her soul into something rare. A snowbox scene, a love affair, Santa and Mrs Claus in winter's glare. Oh, Sherry heart, you've made the night a snowy box, a glowing light, Santa kisses, hands held tight in your creation. The world feels right. Not a globe, but a wonderland. Snowy trees, a magic hand. Twinkling lights where dreams expand. A winter story perfectly planned. Sherry's heart in every flake. A snowy box only love could make. Oh, Sherry heart, you've made the night a snowy box, a glowing light, Santa kisses, hands held tight in your creation. The world feels right. Snow falls softly, time stands still. In your box, love's gentle thrill. A scene of joy, a heart to fill. A magic touch. Santa's boots are dusted with snow. Mrs. Claus laughs, her cheeks all aglow. The resin stars, they softly shine, holding hands, their love divine. Under the mistletoe glow, where the warmest feelings grow, kisses sweeter than sugar cane, lights dance in the candy lane. A shaker box plays a soft refrain, epoxy snowflakes on the window pane. They twirl, they spin in Christmas cheer, love's the gift they hold so near. Oh, the lights blink slow, a tiny spark. In this little scene, love leaves its mark. Under the mistletoe glow, where the warmest feelings grow, kisses sweeter than sugar cane, lights dance in the candy lane. Snowflakes fall, they don't make a sound. Santa and Mrs. Claus spinning around. Tiny world in a resin embrace, captured forever in this frozen space. Under the mistletoe glow, where the warmest feelings grow, kisses sweeter than sugar cane, lights dance in the candy lane.
Okay, so update. After many failed attempts to make a clear covering, I attempted to make one with white edge to at least conceal some bubbles on the edges, but I keep getting the gathering of bubbles in the middle. And so I actually managed to demold it whilst it was still soft, and that means that I was actually able to just take out this piece. I was able to cut the clear away from this. So I've UV resined these decorations, as you can see. I thought I'd better start planning where I'm going to put my pre-made pieces. So I put my people in the middle, and as you can see, or hopefully can see, no, you can't quite see, yeah, it is the tiniest bit too bumpy to just put a piece of acetate across. So I decided that because I only need that tiny extra bit of width, that this would be the ideal solution to be able to complete my piece and fit my decorations inside. So my plan will be, when I finish decorating it, because it's going to be awkward if I have to lean over the raised edge, when I finish decorating it, put my pieces where I want them, then I will stick this onto there and then stick a sheet of acetate across the top to make my display box. So that's the plan. And this is going to be clearly too big, which is a shame. I'm wondering whether, I think half would be enough. So I'm actually debating putting one of these in half, if I can. Spoiler alert, I can cut it. It's just that it's a waste of time because even half of it is too wide for the frame. I've decided to not make it too busy. I thought about still using a house, but I think that is enough, to be honest. Maybe just put one tree or two trees. I want them to be fairly central. I don't want a tree to be bigger than the snowman, at least not next to the snowman. Dark green. I think dark green for winter.
A snow globe seen in resin's glow, Santa's cheeks a rosy show, Mrs. Claus her hand in his, a Christmas tale sealed with a kiss. The light box hums a magic spell, tiny stars where love does dwell. Epoxy wonderland, hearts in the shine, a shaker of joy, a moment divine. Santa and his love, forever they stand, holding hands in this resin land.
Right, I've got some epoxy mixed up. I'm just letting it debubble a bit. I want to put a very thin layer over my picture. I just really hope that bubbles don't ruin the picture. It's only going to be extremely thin layer, so hopefully it'll be fine and it'll debubble easily. And so I'm just going to use some B7000 to stick Mr and Mrs Claus down. Actually, something else I'm going to do before I put the epoxy in as well. That'll do. Now I am just going to dot some bonding kit on the tree, on the lamppost, on the snowman, and then I'm going to use what I would call artificial snow, just in various places that I feel it would be appropriate. Here goes me risking ruining the whole thing. So I'm just pouring a thin layer of epoxy down now, just to seal in the UV pictures and make absolutely sure Mr and Mrs Claus and the artificial snow and ice won't move about with the shaker. Yeah, it's looking good so far, isn't it? I'm really proud of it. But there's more yet to come. Just need to trim up a few pieces on the edge here so that I can stick that frame on. Okay, we are going to attempt to finish this today. Now, unfortunately, because this is coloured instead of clear, I can't just use UV resin or my bonding kit and then UV light onto it, because the light won't penetrate through either of these sides. So I'm going to have to struggle to use my B7000. That's the only glue I've got, unless we've just got some standard super glue somewhere in the house. But I'm going to try with this, and I've got another tube in case I'm struggling too much with this one. So I will use this, and then if I feel it's needed, I will do some bonding kit on one of the edges, either the outside join or the inside join. I'm not sure yet.
A snow globe seen in resin's glow, Santa's cheeks a rosy show, Mrs Claus her hand in his, a Christmas tale sealed with a kiss. The light box hums a magic spell, tiny stars where love does dwell.
Okay, it's not stuck perfectly, but it's enough to hold it in position for me. So I'm going to go around on the inside edge with my bonding kit. Now, I don't want it all to run down onto my epoxy layer. I want it to stay up here and join the two white sections together. So I'm going to have to stand it up like this.
Epoxy wonderland, hearts in the shine, a shaker of joy, a moment divine. Santa and his love, forever they stand, holding hands in this resin land. The UV rays made snowflakes gleam, a frosted world.
Right, each side has had a layer and 2 minutes of curing. I'm just going to check if it feels like these gaps are covered. Some don't feel perfectly covered, and there'll be some down here that are not because the artificial snow was in the way. So I'm just going to go around again, do all these inside gaps again, and then I think I'll do the outside. I'm not sure though. So I'll do that off camera. I'll see you shortly. I have gone ahead and put a cork bottom on. Now I am going to go big or go home. I am going to put some lights in.
Sherry heart with her crafty flair poured her soul into something rare. A snowbox scene, a love affair, Santa and Mrs Claus in winter's glare. Oh, Sherry heart, you've made the night a snowy box, a glowing light, Santa kisses, hands held tight in your creation. The world feels right. Not a globe but a wonderland, snowy trees, a magic hand, twinkling lights where dreams expand, a winter story perfectly planned. Sherry's heart in every flake, a snowy box only love could make. Oh, Sherry heart, you've made the night a snowy box, aglow.
Okay, I have gone round with the lights twice, because there are quite big gaps between them. It went from there to there originally with just one circuit round. Okay, and then for this bit I have resined over the wires because they will snap. The wire will snap at some point. So what I've done is I've gone over it with soft type UV, which means this stays flexible, and so you can still bend your light out of sight. If you do hard type, then that's going to create a hard edge, and if you try bend it round, it's going to split the wire. But by protecting it with soft, I liken it to wires that you have in your house. You've got your metal going through the middle with some soft plastic around them. Do you remember those ones where you can actually split your wires apart? So hopefully I've given that good coverage. I know it goes all the way up to here, so there's not going to be a snap at this end. I'm just curious. I'm not quite sure if it's gone all the way to here. I think it has, but I might just give do another little dot here as well. So here, let me show you. So you can see that there is resin through the middle and around them. So that has put a protective coating over both pieces of wire. Let's put another little dot around here. Right, I'll be back in a minute when that's cured. Right, okay, I've got some of this decorative shred, and I'm just thinking to disguise the lights a little bit, maybe sprinkle this on. Obviously I'd need to put more UV glue on, but I don't know, so I'm just seeing how it would look. I would need to, and gosh, that could be very hassly, and I've literally got a couple of hours left in which to get this project finished. That could be very hassly. Oh, now I can't get it off. Mind you, if it's going to stick that easy, maybe it won't be that hassly. Shall I just sprinkle this around? Again, drizzle a bit of UV. Okay, I've dusted the top and the two sides, and on the bottom I'm going to put some more of this artificial snowflakes. And now I am going to just drizzle some more of this on to sprinkle some of that over. Right, two more decisions to make. The first one, what pretty things am I going to put in here? The second one, do I keep it a dry shaker or do I risk putting liquid in? And we'll come to that later, obviously. Firstly, I need to put some pretty shaker inclusions in.
Santa's boots are dusted with snow. Mrs. Claus laughs, her cheeks all aglow. The resin stars, they softly shine, holding hands, their love divine. Under the mistletoe glow, where the warmest feelings grow, kisses sweeter than sugar cane, lights dance in the candy lane. A shaker box plays a soft refrain, epoxy snowflakes on the window pane. They twirl, they spin, Christmas cheer, love's the gift they hold so near. Oh, the lights blink slow, a tiny spark in this little scene.
So lining up the acetate to be halfway across the wall, so that when we seal it across the seal.
Feelings grow, kisses sweeter than sugar cane, lights dance in the candy lane. Snowflakes fall, they don't make a sound. Santa and Mrs. Claus spinning around, tiny world in a resin embrace, captured forever in this frozen space. Under the mistletoe glow, where the warmest feelings grow, kisses sweeter than sugar cane, lights dance in the candy lane.
Right, so for this, I'm going to make a little slit. This could also be the area where I squirt liquid into if I decide to do that. I'll stick that under the door lamp again. Right, I'm just going to finish sealing this wire, securing this wire to the side. Right, so this is what I've got so far. Now then, a couple more things to deal with. One is, again, whether I put liquid in. The other is the shakeriness. I'm going to need to top coat it to make that solid and make it not sound so plasticky. The other thing is, all of my flat pieces are tending to stay stuck to the back. So I'm hoping that if I put liquid in, it will unstick them. Other than that, I still think it is really pretty. It looks like they've got married and that's all the confetti that's been thrown over them. So I am still really quite happy with it, but literally I'm run out of time to film. I might be able to afford time to throw a UV coat on. I don't know. I don't know, I'll come back to you as to whether that's the end or not. Okay, I have decided I need to fill this because those pieces, those flat pieces at the back are not moving, and so I can't make it any worse. I maybe should have put some in liquid before putting the film on, but I did what I did. So my liquid of choice is baby oil. Right, let me bring you up to speed. When I left you, I was filling this with baby oil and it was leaking everywhere. And the reason was, when I sealed the acetate onto the box, the acetate had slipped so that the bottom edge was at the bottom edge of the box and it had left an actual indent at the top. And I figured that's because this is really thin, floppy acetate. So I cut that off, sanded my edges down, and then I cut a new piece of acetate. And I thought, if I cover that with UV resin and cure that first, that will make it thicker, which will make it easier for me to see. It'll be less floppy and it won't slip inside the box on any edges. But that didn't work either, because when I tried to cure it, it warped the acetate. So I've got yet another piece of acetate. So this is my third piece of acetate. And what I thought I would try is put another piece. So I've made another piece, just a thin edge piece. So the idea being, I'll loosely stick this down with UV, trying my best to make sure it's in position, stays in position. Then I will seal it again and proper stick it down with super glue, and then ensure it is sealed all the way around again. So that is my idea for how to fix this problem. The only, well, I have got a slight issue that I've now got these wires sticking up in the way. So I could, can I? Yeah, I'll have to try and cut into it so that it doesn't create a big gap. In fact, it's not that big a gap that it's creating, to be honest. If I assume I stick it down from that corner and stick, and then same on this side, it's actually not that big a gap. I might be able to get away with just gluing just to some extra glue just to make sure that there's no gap there. So that's the idea. But before I do that, I need to refill this because I lost a lot of my inclusions, because when I had to cut off the first acetate, and then I had lots of liquid just floating about, but I needed to sand these edges as well a bit because some acetate, when I tried to take that off, it broke on the edges. So I had to sand and pick at extra acetate to try and get this as smooth as possible. So I've missed a bit there. So I had to dab up the liquid so that I wasn't messing about with baby oil getting all over, and of course I lost some inclusions with that. But I think I said on camera that I actually could have done with putting some inclusions in oil and then pouring it in, and then that way they're already floating. So I actually might do it that way. I might try putting the oil in before I stick this back on. Okay, I have had to prop it up with some sticks because I've secured the light on the back, haven't I? Yeah, that's silly. Hey ho. So I have mixed up some more inclusions and mixed up some more inclusions into some baby oil in the hope that these will actually float around. But as I've said before, I think the thing looks pretty, even if things aren't shakering as such. I'm not going to fill it all the way because I don't want to risk it leaking over the sides. I don't think that's going to have worked. Okay, I might have overdone it with the inclusions. I'm not sure because I don't know if they're going to shake. I don't know if they're going to actually float around. But it's just for me. And I think it looks pretty. My only complaint would be if they don't float, they're kind of hiding what I've painted on at the back, which would make that pointless. But that's why I'm scraping them down the bottom here. If they don't shake around, at least they're not covering my pictures as much. If they do shake, all well and good. But it's just for me, and the idea of this video is making the box shaker. What inclusions you put in and how many of them is obviously completely up to you. So don't let that put you off pressing that like button if you've liked the overall principle of what I've done today. I don't want this to slip in on any of the edges. So rather than lay it down, I am just going to put a dot of my bonding glue, my UV bonding glue, in each corner. And then I'm going to lay down and cure one corner at a time.
Sherry heart, you bit off too much. Fingers trembling, a paper smudge. Mistakes in ink, I scream your name. This project's a beast, you're feeling the shame. But you've climbed halfway, can't turn back now. The view's too steep, but you'll find how. Pick it up, dust it off, Sherry heart, you're not done. You've stumbled through the fire, now face the sun. When the weight feels like a stone, you're stronger than you've ever known. Pages crumpled, your head's a storm. The comfort zone has long been torn. A mirror whispers, you've gone too far, but you can't reverse. You raise the bar. Pick it up, dust it off, Sherry heart, you're not done. You've stumbled through the fire, now face the sun. When the weight feels like a stone, you're stronger than you've ever known.
I've moved them sticks now so that liquid can run down into that corner, so it can start testing this, testing the seal on that edge. Okay, I have filled it up to approximately here, and I'm going to leave it stood up while I seal the top because it is going to leak otherwise. It's going to pour out if I lay it back down, isn't it? I had to quickly seal this side because the oil has come up here and the hole was lower down than that, so I had to just quickly deal with that before I could turn the camera back on. I think I might give it another little another coat to be on the safe side, and I think that extra frame that I've made. I don't think that is going to fit on smoothly anymore. I'll deal with that if I need to. It is going to get more glue on it when I put that frame on, so hopefully it will be fine. And I am going to leave that decent air bubble, because then when I turn it up the right way at the top, that's one area that I won't need to worry about leaks from. Uh-oh, I'm getting leaks, I think. Right, if I am, it's a slow leak, so I'll fix this and then go around and check for other leaks. One of my kiddies thinks that I'm playing with their laser toy. Right, I think it's sealed enough. I think there is still a tiny leak somewhere. I think it's sealed enough that I can glue this on. That glue might seal that, whatever section is still leaking. But if not, I'm obviously going to resin around this as well. I'll do it off camera because you're not in frame anyway. Right guys, I've done it. I have finally managed. I know it doesn't look perfect. I know there are little anomalies, but I have poured my heart and soul into this project and I am proud of it. So I sealed, obviously. I stuck this extra layer on. I then UV resin glued around the outside, all around. Then I have poured a layer of UV, not glue, just UV resin, onto the acetate to make that solid. Clearly some had leaked in, and then when I've cured it, it's cured them in a bubble. And yeah, that's about it. No, that's fine. Yeah, I like it. I've worked hard for it, and it's not perfect. It's certainly not sellable. And if it was, it wouldn't be sellable at the price I'd want to sell it for. So, you know guys, my channel's not perfect, my project's not perfect. But I hope that you learn from my mistakes and you tweak it. If you wanted to make something like this, you tweak it how you would want it. You tweak the way that you know how to do it. Hopefully you can get good results. So I am going to save the lighted up picture for the glamour shots. Yes, the lights do still work despite all the messing. It's really hard to shake one-handed, so bear with me and I'll take a separate video for that. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, if you haven't subscribed already, please do, because I have worked really hard on this project. Thank you so much. Have a Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you